Hey, this is Pohdoh here, and this time I'm just going to be briefly talking about my Fire Mage talent spec and just a few choices that I made and just a few tips that I have for Fire Mages. And keep in mind, this is PvP orientated, and quite frankly, Fire is quite trash. Like it's quite shitty. So a lot of the stuff I'm saying is uncharted territory and hasn't really been tested in Arena by anyone since, there are no Fire Mages in Arena. So a lot of this is theory. Anyways, let's get on to the talent tree. For the Fire tree, we'll be taking the Mastery, 1 into Shockwave, 3 into Elemental Phantom, 5 into Burnout, 3 into Elemental Mastery for much shorter Fireball cast time, Lightning just as filler points, Blaze Prison because it's very important, 4 out of 5 into Blasting Fire and 1 into Wind Waker. Wind Waker is actually one of the few useful things as Fire. It is a little inconsistent, but it's worth putting 1 point into it. Don't put any more because it's just kind of a waste. 1 point into Elemental Finishing, 4 points into Flaming Mine, 1 point into Flame Storm, and then for the Ice Tree we'll be having 3 into Frostbolt Freeze. It doesn't happen very often, but it's better than the spell hit. You want to take the Frost Blast, obviously, then 1 the spell hit just to get to the next tier, then 5 out of 5 into Erudition since there's a lot more damage, and then you want to take Winter Sleep just for a little bit of extra control. Also keep in mind that you can use the spec for PvE, so that's one of the good things about Fire is that you don't need to constantly respec back and forth. So about Fire Mage Burst, it pretty much all comes from Flamestorm, and that's the main issue with PvP for Fire Mages is that it's very hard to actually catch anyone inside it unless you have insane team coordination. And then Fire Mage damage comes from Flamestorm and from crits, so Skyfire is very important. So use Skyfire when you're anticipating Burst, or it doesn't really have to be under Flamestorm because quite frankly it's very hard to get someone under Flamestorm. But if you're running with a healer, you can get them to influence them while they're under the Flamestorm. It'll break almost right away, but it'll keep them under the Flamestorm a bit longer and help you secure the kill. While a target is underneath Flamestorm, there are 2 options you can do. You can either spam Fireball, which is it does more damage overall, but the only issue is that it has a really long cast time, so it's easy to line of sight it. And another way you can do very consistent and fast damage that's harder to interrupt is to use Frostbolt to activate Burnout and then start spamming Shockwave. So then those are your 2 best ways of dealing damage, and I am obviously wearing almost full PvE gear just to display the numbers a little better, but if you're really well geared, which you should be if you're even bothering to attempt Fire, then you should see similar numbers, maybe 1,000 less, and take that by half to account for resilience. See, one of the good things about Fire is that you don't need Flamestorm and your Skyfire to do significant damage. You can nail them for pretty good damage with Frostbolt and Shockwave, or just a few Fireballs here and there. It does crit for a pretty good amount. Keep in mind I say crit, and if you don't crit then it does almost pitiful damage. And then I also like taking a lot of Flame Mine just for the Elemental Finishing proc. So you can do a Fireball and then Elemental Finishing right after for a pretty good amount of massive burst. And keep in mind Fireball does also do a little bit of burn damage as well, but it doesn't activate if you spam it back and back. And I would not spam Fireball back to back normally, but then once you get to this amount of spell power, then it actually does more damage just spamming it and not waiting. The burn damage is just kind of extra. See, for your defense, which there isn't really a lot of, you have Sleep, you have Frost Blast, and you also have Silence, and that's pretty much it. And they also all have significant cooldowns, so you have to be very smart with it if you're ever going to be successful as a Fire Mage. And I really do mean it, because there's basically no successful Fire Mage right now. A few of them have bordered the 2600, 2500 back then, but pretty much everyone gave up, and is pretty much only Ice in PvP right now. Which brings me to my next point, which is what's Fire Mage's biggest weakness? Well, the cast time, really. The thing about Ice is that there's not that many cast times, and if there are, you have a lot of haste to make up for it. But Fire Mage damage comes from crit and spell power, not spell haste, and a lot of their spells have a really long cast time, such as Frostbolt. Without Neve, there's also Fireball and Flamestorm. And right now with DPS warriors and Sins roaming around, they just do so much damage and constantly interrupt you. It's going to be nearly impossible to set up a good burst on them. just because they have so many interrupts and they can pretty much CC you down to no end. And even if you do get damage off, it's not really as significant, and you know, it really is a struggle for Fire Mage, and that is a big reason why you don't see any competitive PvP Fire Mages, you know, in 2s at least. In 4s they're a little okay, but another weakness is that they're incredibly squishy. They have about half the defense of an Ice Mage, they don't have 50% stronger shield, they don't have stone armor, they don't have quick freeze, they also don't have stone armor as well, and then they don't have frozen mind for fast cooldown resets. So yeah, pretty much in a nutshell, fire sucks. And this is the best I can do. You know, I can't promise you success with this spec, and really it's just kind of more of a spec they can do 4s with if you really want to, and do dungeons with to save you a little bit of gold. But honestly guys, fire is not very good right now for PvP. I wouldn't recommend it unless you're really determined, and there have been a few, but even then, you know, it's just been kind of like an deal. They haven't really, you know, taken off. It's just so hard, and you know, pretty much everything fire has, ice can do almost better, besides consistent AoE damage, which isn't even that important anymore. So I'll talk more about gearing a Fire Mage and an Ice Mage in my future gemming videos, since, you know, the gearing is the same as an Ice Mage, except the gems are just a little bit different. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Tell me guys, you know, what kind of guides you want next. I'm working on a Sin guide and a Mage gemming guide and a general gemming guide as well. I'm pumping out a lot of these guides because I want to get them out before the next update really, and because I'm kind of busy, so it's hard for me to play, especially now that I'm in college. I'm gonna play a little more this week, and other than that, you know, Order and Chaos has been taking a back seat for me. You know, I just have been having more priorities in my life right now. So anyways, this is Pohdoh here. Rate, comment, subscribe, and tell me guys if you enjoyed this video. Once again, sorry for my lack of uploads, but you know, Order and Chaos and YouTube, you know, it's just kind of like a second thing. It's kind of like a hobby, you know, not really a job. So just keep that in mind, and yep, thank you guys for watching. I really do appreciate it, and then I'll see you guys later. Feel free to chat me in game if you want. I'll try my best to respond. Bye.